Good evening, and welcome to What's Your Story? I'm your host, James Ransom Reed Jr. This is part 2 of an interview I have with Officer Jason Reardon of the Avon Police Department. You don't want to miss part 1, so you should check that out too. Officer Reardon is here to help educate our citizenry as to the proper ways to purchase and secure your firearms. As I said at the outset of the first show, this is not about taking away anybody's guns. We are not opposing the Second Amendment. What we're trying to do here is educate people so that we can try and make things safer. I want Officer Reardon and all the law enforcement people to get up and go to work and go home. And I want you to do the same without fear of being gunned down. So stay with us for part 2 of this interview. Welcome again, Officer Jason Reardon.
Jim, thank you very much.
All right, buddy. Thank you for really imparting some good information for us. But I wanted to touch on something just one more time that you talked about in the first episode. What are some of the consequences for failing to properly secure your weapon?
So consequences can lead up to everything from fines to jail time. If I think we discussed earlier, if you have your gun just willy-nilly in your house, just in your top dresser drawer, your house gets broken into while you're on vacation, that person there commits a crime with that weapon, you could be held liable as well. So it's
people don't understand that. They won't believe that, would they?
Yeah, I mean, every case is a case-by-case scenario, and we're not going to debate the lawyer aspect of it, but the reality is if you have your gun unsecured in your household, not in a safe, just loaded, sitting there, you take part responsibility for that. What the action that person does, if they do an illegal action, yeah, you're not doing that, but you sure gave them access to do it. So not a good thing.
Not a good thing.
Not a good thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about people who want to get rid of a firearm in their homes and they don't quite know what to do. Would you explain to people how the Avon Police Department handles citizens turning in unwanted firearms?
Yep. So in Avon, and I believe it's probably most police departments in the state, you have a couple options. One option is you can bring your gun to a licensed gun dealer, which are very easy to find, simple Google search, and they'll purchase your gun. It's not top dollar, but they'll give you something for it. If you are totally opposed guns, you just don't want them, you don't believe in them, but you found them in Grandpa's closet when you was cleaning out his garage or his upstairs bedroom, you can come down to the police department. We advise people to call. So come right to the police department, call up our dispatch, say, hi, this is Jason Reardon. I'm here to turn in some guns we found at my grandfather's house. He's long since passed away. Okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yes.
We'll send an officer out to the car. We advise people not to just walk into the police department with guns ablazing. It has a bad look.
It's not a good thing.
Not a good look. Yeah, so let us know, and we'll come out, we'll secure the firearms, and then we'll put them up for destruction. They go into our evidence. Our evidence officers will then take them to the state police to have them destroyed.
So do you check the weapon to see if it was used in any kind of a
So
crime?
like everything else, everything goes through a database.
Okay.
We have to log everything. Any type of evidence is logged in a specific manner. There's no straying off those tracks, right?
Okay.
So everything is done exactly the same. So obviously if we come up with weapons and then come to find out later that they were used in a crime maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, well, then we'll have to take those certain steps. The officer at that point, whoever comes and gets your weapons,
Yes.
he's going to take them, he's going to put them into evidence. The detectives and the evidence officers will follow up with anything further, from that point. So.
Okay, so if you're bringing a weapon to the police station, leave it in the car.
Yeah, I would suggest, just leave it in your car, leave it in the trunk,
and
whatever.
And get the police to come out
Yep.
and take the weapon out of your vehicle.
Yeah, we'll be more than happy to walk out there, grab the weapons from you. Some people have called up and we've gone to the house. That's fine.
Oh, you go to the home
Sure.
to get weapons?
Yeah, if you are not comfortable putting this weapon in your vehicle because you know nothing about guns,
Yes.
then yeah, just give us a call. I'll come out to your house. I've done it before where people were cleaning out their garage and it was, their dad's house and they haven't been in this part of the back garage in 25 years. And,
Yes.
there's a shotgun sitting there just leaning up against the thing, old, rusted, basically just scrap metal at this point.
Yeah.
But that's fine. If you're not comfortable with that, then just give us a call.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's be candid here. There are some people not comfortable going to the police department. You know what I mean? They just don't want to go to the police department, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
We're tracking.
Okay,
Yep.
now, where could they turn in their firearms? Does the Avon Police Department recommend, say, a house of worship, your church? If you're a member of a church, you could bring it, you think you can bring it to your church and turn it into the pastor or whatever, and then the pastor can turn it in. What's going on with that?
So another gray area, case by case, I guess you want to call it. We've had people who want to turn guns in that it's their brother's, and he's moved to California. He doesn't want to come back for them, but it's tough. We can't take someone else's property. But if you're coming from your church, and I know you, I'm gonna talk with my boss, a little bit of faith here, saying, hey, this person did the right thing. They gave it to Jim. In confidence. They want it off the street. And want to remain anonymous. Sure, I guess we have to work with that.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, what did we do? We got a gun off the street.
We got a gun off the street.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, sometimes you got to weigh each option. I can't sit here and speak on every specific case.
Sure.
Yeah, I would not suggest churches just having a bin in the front that said drop your guns here. It's probably not going to end well. It's not secured. It's there's various reasons that probably won't work out. Yeah. But I mean, I would hope if someone gets to that level, that at that point we recognize that they're doing something good. But again, if that gun is involved with a crime, and we discover that, obviously we have a job to do, right? So we have to take care of that.
Has Avon Police Department ever engaged in gun buybacks of any kind?
So not since I've been there. Gun buybacks were, I guess, I don't want to say popular. We're very organized more in a larger city. Hartford, Bridgeport, New York
much
City.
in vogue.
Yes, yeah. And the ideas behind it were great. Let's get the guns off the street, and in return, we'll give people a $50 gift card for an old shotgun, a $100 gift card, to whatever it may be.
Yes.
But of course, here we are in the year 2023 here, and everything's about money and organization and how do we raise the money? How do we raise the funds? Where do we get the money in our budget to start giving out weapons or money for weapons?
Yes.
I've talked to a couple guys at work. They've had similar incidents in other cities where people are creating a weapon, right? It's a metal tube with a rubber band and a striker. You can shoot a shotgun shell. Where's my $100? I just made 30 of these, so they're not working out, I think, as well as people want to, because people always work the system in one way or another,
Yeah.
So like I said, your best bet to get rid of a gun and we've had it, people come in and I give them the options. I'm like, well, you could sell your gun to a gun dealer, or we can take it and have it destroyed. And they're like, whoa, I could sell it? I'm like, well, yeah, they'll do all the paperwork, and I don't know what they'll give you for it. Not much, but $250 in your pocket is better than nothing, and then in turn, if it's sold to a legal gun dealer, they have to sell it legally. They're not selling it out the back door, so either way, it's still purchased legally and then sold legally, which is a bonus.
You touched on a very important point when you said that a family member can't turn in somebody else's property. Suppose a family member who has a gun has dementia or something, and the family wants the gun out of the house, but this person has dementia and can't really reason well enough to. What happens?
So now now we have another what if case scenario, but now we have something where we can hold it for various reasons, right? So if there's a risk, right? If I'm in a household and I have my brother living with me because he has some such a psychological disorder, or whatever it may be, and my wife is uncomfortable with that, sure, we can turn them in. If they're his guns, my guns, we can get them out of the household, right? So let's take the the bad thing and get it out of the environment, right? It's not gonna, that has nothing to do with, my brother's psychological disorder, if he had one. But what it does is it does get the gun out. Yes, if your father is, going through Alzheimer's or dementia, yes, we can take those guns in, and then, just like everything else, eventually you'll be the power of attorney or go through probate or whatever it may be.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if the ultimate goal is to get guns out of an area that's not safe, secure, whether it be someone with psychological disorder or dementia or elderly, then sure, I think everyone can agree that, we'll take them in, either keep them as safekeeping until the courts decide what to do. No different if you're in a domestic. So if you are in a domestic situation with your partner, wife, husband, whatever it may be, we're going to take those guns out of the house. We're going to remove a bad element from that environment. All right. Then the courts can decide, okay, he went through or she went through these classes, took anger management, they're back together. They just went to Hawaii on a beautiful trip and they're back, everybody's back in love. Okay, they can get their guns back. So, the courts, they have ultimate say in that. If it was, we can't have that say because that might be a personal interest of mine. They're looking at it very objectively. So
Now, you provided me with gun locks. I didn't know that police departments provided those. Tell our audience about gun locks.
Yeah, so again, our biggest goal as officers is education, right? We have gun locks that we get through the state. We give them out at our police department. If you want to come down to the police department, knock on a window, hey, I need 5 gun locks, we'll hand you 5 gun locks. We don't ask, for donations. We don't ask why. If you want gun locks, we'll give you gun locks. So we spoke before about this group, Moms Demand Action.
Yes.
So when when that group first came to me, Erin was talking to me, and I said, well, why don't I give you some gun locks? She goes, that'd be awesome. So I gave her gun locks. I was off that day. I get a call from my dispatcher. She's like, hey, the woman who doing the gun lock safety thing at Walmart, she said she ran out, and I don't know where else to get any. I'm like, are you kidding me? I gave her a whole case. So I left my house, I grabbed my daughter, we went down to the police station, I grabbed a few more boxes, met her up at Walmart and got her some more gun locks, 10, 15 minutes out of my personal life to, give gun locks, it's no big deal,
Do you or members of the police department say come to organizations like a church and talk to people about gun safety and show people how to use gun locks? Do you?
So
anybody that does that?
I think any officer would be qualified to do that. We have done, we've had groups invite us. We're not necessarily going to just go knocking on businesses.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hi, my name's Officer Reardon. You want to learn about gun locks? And they're like, well,
sure.
I'm trying to run a restaurant. So,
Yep.
well, more than happy to. Either myself, one of the sergeants who is a firearms instructor, they're more than happy to come out to a business and show how gun locks work. It's a very, very simple. It's exactly what you imagine. I didn't think about bringing props today, but we got a prop.
All right, yeah.
It's just a lock with a big loop. Goes in there, renders the gun unable to make a shot, right?
Okay.
Not useless, just unable to.
Unable to fire.
Yep.
Yeah.
Won't be able to fire.
Won't be able
to put a magazine. Won't be able to get a bullet in. Will not get any rounds through it. So.
Now, is this true across the board, or just Avon Police does this? Other police departments?
No, I'm sure every police department in the state does it. I can't speak of other states, but in Connecticut.
In Connecticut,
yep.
Yeah.
So the Kids Safe program is what provides those gun locks to me, which then I can in turn provide them to groups in the community, private citizens, whatever. Like I said, if you come down to the police department, knock on our window, we'll give you gun locks.
What's the question you run into the most from people involving guns? What, as a police officer, what question? Oh, here it comes again, the same question. What do people ask you about gun safety or guns or what have you?
the age-old question. What are we going to do about getting guns off the street? Besides miracle, it has to start with education. You have to bring the use of this nation up with good moral values. Why is it that, a 12-year-old in one town and a 12-year-old in another town, one will choose gun violence and the other one won't even think of it? I don't know. I don't have that answer. We have, you see across the country, not my town, right? The old saying, oh, not in my town. Well, I'm pretty sure people in Iowa never heard of Newtown, Connecticut before the school shooting. I didn't hear about XY town in, Iowa until there was a school shooting, right? So yeah, that's the age-old question: is what are we going to do about it? Well, everybody has to do something, about it. Like we said, it's okay to ask your neighbor if he has guns, if your kids are going to be playing with each other, or if he's going to invite your kids over to the pool with his kids. It's okay to ask that question. If your kid is going to have a sleepover, it's okay to ask these questions, right? It opens up the communication, and it starts bringing more and more education of the reality of gun safety, which is very, very simple. It's not hard to have a gun safe,
Do you coordinate? Does Avon Police Department coordinate with other police departments in training, or
Sure, yeah.
What do you do?
We have our normal recertification training for every officer in the state of Connecticut, but you will also have members, let's say, of our SWAT team or our gun armorers, the people who disassemble, clean our guns, take care of them, and our rifle and handgun, instructors. They go to training and they talk to other officers throughout the state. Just like everything else, what are you doing over at your department? Hey, we've been doing this. It's pretty successful. All right, we're going to bring it back to our department, So I've never heard of that group, Moms Demand Action, until I get a phone call from this woman one day just looking to speak with me about it. I end up going onto the old Google search, and I'm like, this is a huge movement. It's all across the country. And I didn't realize it, So like I said, if more and more people are exposed to what can be done about gun violence, and then bring that on to their kids, grandkids, nephews, nieces, whatever it may be, then.
On a personal note, you are a police officer,
Yep.
and you do have a target on your back,
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, you do.
Yep.
How do you deal with that?
Do my job. It's very simple to sit here and say, I get paid to do my job. This is my job. It's only my job. It is my job. No different than when I was in a restaurant. No different when I was laying asphalt on the Berlin Turnpike. It's my job. I do it the best I can. I do it as safe as I can. And with safety comes training, and that magic word again, education. We go through firearm safety all the time. Our firearms instructors, when we go to the range, this is not a joking around, hanging out in the back, water cooler area. This is, like I said, once that trigger is pulled, you cannot take it back. So you will be yelled at. You will be kicked off the firearm range.
Really?
You'll be disciplined severely if you violate these simple rules.
Really?
Oh, yeah. This is not, like I said, when we go to firearms, it's a relaxed day. You're not on the road. You're not doing traffic. You're not, doing whatever you're doing, answering 80,000 emails or phone calls. It's a pretty relaxed day, but there's a zero tolerance when it comes to safety. Yeah. So, and I've never seen it crossed. I've never seen anyone, turn around with their gun, wave their gun in their hand. It's just not going to happen. Not in Avon. I can't speak for every department, but not in Avon, that's for sure.
Well, you've got a microphone in your hand, pretend, and you're talking to some 80,000 people who are waiting for your every word on what they can do to help make society safer in relationship to firearms. What do you say to them, Jason? What do you say to that crowd?
Well, and for the most part, stop turning a blind eye in your own neighborhood. When you see things happen, the old saying, when you see something, say something. It's not just a briefcase on the train tracks. I don't know if that's ever actually happened, but they make a commercial about it. But when you witness things in your neighborhood or in your community or on your way to work, if you don't tell us, we don't know. And if we don't know about it, we can't address the situation. You also have to work with your lawmakers, your legislature, your senators, right? If they don't know that you are angry or concerned about gun safety or et cetera, how are they going to fix the problem? And if they don't fix the problem, vote for someone else. They're in this office because you voted them in, because you had the same beliefs as them. And if they're not doing their job, you have to let them know. And if they still continue to not do their job, whether it's for gun safety or making parking more accessible at grocery stores, I don't care what your cause is.
Yes.
But it is your job as a citizen to vote, to know who you're voting for and what they stand for, and what do they actually do. Do they show up at the Senate and just push the button once in a while? Or are they out in the street? Are they talking? How many times have we seen, after a tragic incident, juveniles killed in the street, and there's 10, 12 people out there with candles and a megaphone, and the local pastor saying, that's it, we can't have this anymore. But what happens 2 days later? where are those people? Or then where's the next group? So they have to take it to their legislators. They have to take it to their senators, their representatives, who have our voice, on that Senate floor in D.C., things like that. So
let's say a neighborhood, all the people have permits, they've gone through the training, they have their guns, but they form a group to protect their street. Mm-hmm. Is that illegal, or?
So you're talking about a militia?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, yeah.
Well, it depends. I mean, are they being safe? You can walk down the street with your AR-15 strapped to your back. It's not illegal. Would I recommend it? No, not so much. I mean, you're bringing unwanted attention. We have people who, go to stores with their gun exposed, and they wait and they try to bait officers into, asking them the wrong question or treating them the wrong way, because they feel like everybody in the world should have guns. That's great, but I don't think you're going to get what you want by attacking it or going after it in poor taste and poor tactics, So yeah, if everyone in my neighborhood had guns, and at 8 p.m. we walked up and down the street and reminded everyone else, lock your cars, yep, you got your spotlights on, you got your camera, that's not a militia, that's a neighborhood watch. But if we're taken to the streets and we're questioning people and using our guns in a bad way, now we're a whole different story here.
Yeah, we crossed into a new league.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the British didn't like that either.
It's this interview has been fantastic. I really am grateful and happy that you spent the time to come here and talk honestly and openly about guns and what people can do to keep themselves safe. And what we want to say here at Nutmeg Public Access TV to all the people in law enforcement, thank you for what you do.
Appreciate that.
We understand that you guys get up to keep us safe, and we are deeply appreciative of that.
Yep.
So I don't know how better to say it than to simply say thank you for what you do.
Well, we appreciate that.
And please continue to do the good work. Yep. And if I could be of any help to you, please don't hesitate to contact me. And I won't hesitate to contact you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Like I said, if we have open lines of communication, I don't expect, myself included, every officer to know every nuance of every law and statistics and the statute. But if we have the common sense of keeping guns safe and secure, purchasing them legally or selling them back legally, yeah, the likelihood is going to get less and less of illegal guns on the street.
All right.
All righty.
That's all the time we have for this interview with Officer Jason Reardon of the Avon Police Department. Again, we'd like to thank the chief and everyone at the Avon Police Department that made this possible. Everybody has a story. What's yours? Until next time, I'm your host, James Ransom Reed, Jr. Good night.
The water's warm at Jaws Pond, and we're stocked full of treasures. Big or small, we buy it all. We buy and sell fast rides, power tools, vintage guitars, and so much more. Walk the plank in style with our fine jewelry, diamonds, and watches. Plus, we have a huge selection of the latest video games, including the new PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Jaws Pond, conveniently located on Reardon Waterbury Turnpike in Southington and West Main Street in New Britain.